Hello and welcome to Business Live with me, Beverly Broom. In our headlines tonight, Ghana makes progress on all key targets under International Monetary Fund program ahead of a major review next month. And as we head towards the next pricing window of petroleum products, some indicators show that prices at the pumps may remain unchanged. We will be analyzing the situation. Plus, Public Utilities Regulatory Commission pledges to address tariff hike concerns raised by the Ghana Hotels Association after a protest march.
We are here to mediate between consumers and the service providers. So these are consumers. They brought a petition. We will look at it and mediate between them.
My name is Beverly Broom. We have details after this. Please stay with us. Thanks for choosing us. Now, Ghana has made significant progress on all the key targets under the IMF program. That's the verdict of the IMF ahead of the country's first program review next month. There's more in the following report.
In a question and answer update on the program by the IMF, the fund maintained that on all the major benchmarks under the program, Ghana has made significant progress. One can talk about restoring macroeconomic stability, laying the foundation for higher and more inclusive growth. On the monetary side, the IMF also praised the Bank of Ghana when it comes to measures taken to control inflation, as well as full implementation of the zero financing of government. The IMF also welcomed what it described as a solid plan that the Bank of Ghana has designed to ensure that there is financial sector stability. The IMF again revealed that government is making some significant progress when it comes to reaching a deal with the external creditors when it comes to restructuring their debt after concluding the domestic debt exchange program. For some analysts, this verdict by the IMF may give some strong indication that Ghana may be able or is on track to pass this IMF program review. This could pave the way for the release of some $600 million to Ghana before the end of this year.
Economist Dr. Patrick Isumi. Doc, thank you so much for your time here. Do you see these questions and answers as refreshing coming from the IMF ahead of the review next month?
Good evening and good evening to viewers. Thanks for having me. I wouldn't say refreshing is the word. I don't see much that is refreshing about that. I think, in essence, the statement is what you expect. You also get a sense that the IMF is fishing for success stories because the program has just started. The program was approved and the implementation started in May. And within that time, I'm not sure that how much success, even though you have to understand that some of the preconditions, that were implemented may contribute to whatever we are seeing. But I think it's too early to start claiming any success that the program is shocking.
But from your own observations, do you think the answers provided by the IMF represent the situation on the ground?
So in terms of, the IMF is using a very specific criteria to see, or the project has specific objectives. All these objectives are intended to clean government books and make sure that the public finances are sustainable through the debt sustainability, ensure that macroeconomic stability. Now, if you look at what we have done so far to bring down the debt and also to try and manage the currency and inflation, it looks good on the books. It looks okay on the books of government. But we have to question at what expense those things have come. So at the moment, in terms of what we've done so far, what it has done for government finances, it stabilized it a little bit. But it has come at the expense of, worsen business environment for businesses. And to some extent, it has also worsen the current living conditions of Ghanaians. So, in terms of, what we are achieving or what we are supposed to have achieved, have done for ordinary Ghanaians, it definitely has made the living conditions worse.
But what signals does such a statement send to investors?
So I think for outside investors, it's probably an early signal that government is on track and is on course by way of the program itself. I think, probably that's not how Ghanaians will see it. So it just gives a signal that it's likely the next test, the next assessment will probably give a positive rating of the progress we've made so far. So from that score, you can think of it as a positive. But I think if you go to the street to ask ordinary Ghanaians, I don't think that's how they will see it.
But do you hold the view that this will speed the efforts in getting Ghana the next tranche of the funding from the IMF?
I don't see this necessarily as speeding up that process. I think the timelines are largely defined. When the reviews will be done, I don't think they are going to be moved. It just tells us that it's likely that when the next review is done, the government will be rated positively in terms of progress that has been made. And that increases the likelihood that there will be a pass and then the next release might come before the end of the year. But I don't think that it's going to bring forward the time that the review will be done or the time that this investment will be made. I think those are based on set timelines.
Right, Doc, before I let you go, could there be last-minute hiccups that may affect the assessment by next month?
So in terms of our indicators, I don't see anything that will happen between now and then to derail the indicators that they are going to assess. These are indicators that build up with things that we have done over time. So a lot of them are some reforms that we are supposed to make to improve the macroeconomic environment. So some legal, some framework changes, some institutional changes. I think most of those have been done and you don't see any immediate reversal. So in terms of whether there's anything on the horizon that would derail the likely assessment outcome, I don't see any at this point.
Right, we leave it here. Dr. Patrick Esuming is an economist. Thank you so much, sir, for your time here on Business Live. Now, moving on, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has assured members of the Ghana Hotels Association that it will address concerns about increases in water and electricity tariffs. The PURC has announced an increase in electricity and water tariffs by 4.22% and 1.18% respectively, effective September 1, 2023. Members of the Ghana Hotels Association embarked on a protest march after briefing the press today. Speaking to the media after engaging the association, the Director of Water Services and Performance Monitoring at the PURC, Emmanuel Fiati, said the concerns will be addressed.
Of the Ghana Hotel Association have petitioned the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission over the recent increase in electricity and water tariffs. The PURC announced an increase in electricity and water tariffs by 4.22% and 1.18% respectively, effective September 1st, 2023. President of the association, Dr. Edward Akanyamike Jr., addressed a news conference before the petition was presented.
Referring specifically to 1. The actions and inactions of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission that has created huge debts for hotels. Our grievance against the PURC started in January 2023 when they announced an 8.3% upward adjustment in water tariff effective 1st February 2023. This adjustment implied an increase in water tariff from approximately 11.2 Ghana cedis per cubic meter of water to approximately 12.3 Ghana cedis. However, When hotels received their water bill for February 2023, their tariff per cubic meter of water was 30 Ghana cedis, indicating a whopping 167% increase as against the 8.3% announced by the PURC. The Ghana Hotels Association immediately petitioned the PURC in a letter dated 15th March 2023 to correct the perceived error in the billing. The PURC responded promptly to the association's petition in a letter dated the same day, 15th March, and attempted to justify the 167% increase as part of an ongoing restructuring of Ghana Water Company Limited consumer categories. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, dissatisfied with the PURC's response, the association petitioned the PURC again in a letter dated 23rd March 2023 with a hint to picket at the PURC office if the perceived erroneous billing of hoteliers was not.
Members of the Ghana Hotels Association who were present shared their grievances.
The taxes we are paying is too much, and especially the water tariffs that we've just received is astronomical. It's affecting our businesses. The electricity that we pay.
So initially, how was it, the water tariffs? Let's get to that.
It was the increase in February 8%.
Just this February?
Yes. Then March it went to 30%. Now it's gone 167%. We are sending a final petition to them. If we don't get any favorable response, we shall send our protest to Parliament.
But we were paying at a certain rate, but we don't know the kind of system they've put in place, and now the rates have quadrupled and gone beyond.
With no explanation.
No, like you've improved the area or you've put in certain things that has enhanced the standard of the area. Nothing. The same area, the same problem. But they'll be able to come computer systems that once you log in, then it just pop up. And I think they are also doing another disservice to us. Hotels are hospitality industries. We are not commercial ventures. We don't sell like a shop.
Director of Water Services and Performance Monitoring at PURC, Fiate Emmanuel, received the petition.
You've seen, I've just received a petition. I've not read it, so I don't know the content of it. Tariffs has not been increased for the businesses. We are here to mediate between consumers and service providers. So these are consumers. They brought a petition. We'll look at it and mediate between them.
The Ghana Hotel Association says the action is as a wake-up call to the government and ministries and agencies to pay more attention to some of the issues confronting the hotel industry to ensure its sustenance and growth. For Joy News, Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
You're still watching Business Live here on the Joy News channel with me, Beverly Brom. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us. Welcome back. We do some more stories now, and prices of petroleum products will remain unchanged in the first 2 weeks of September. According to the Institute for Energy Security, this is due to a slowdown in prices of finished petroleum products on the world market and a stable cedi against the US dollar. Petrol is likely to sell at 13 cedis 2 pesos on the average, while diesel will go for 12 cedis 85 pesos on the average. Here is Adam Yakubu, a research and programs officer at the IES.
The institute is given as a result of international price slowdown after consistent price increment over the past 3 windows and the slowed depreciation of the Ghana cedi. The IES is believing that given that there is Ghana cedi depreciation of 0.52%, coupled with marginal increments in petroleum prices on the international market, there will be no significant increment, and for which reason prices are likely to be maintained at current rates.
So we are trying to get through to COPEC to react to this development, and when we get them, we'll definitely bring back that story. Now, the Ghana cedi is expected to continue its stability against the US dollar this week following expected foreign exchange auction for bulk oil distribution companies. Here's more.
While analysts envisage an increase in corporate demand and a possible offshore forex repatriation from the coupon payment on the new bond, the cedi will remain steady this week. Last week, the local currency remained firm on the spot market while posting a mixed performance on the interbank market amidst tightening foreign exchange liquidity. This is despite increased corporate demand drying up liquidity, although the market experienced minimal activities from offshore investors. It opened the week at a mid-rate of 11 cedis 43 pesos to a dollar and traded steadily, gaining 0.44% on the retail market. On the interbank market, the cedi slid marginally against the American greenback.
Now, the next pricing window of petroleum product is a few days ahead. Already, there are some indications that prices at the pumps may remain unchanged. Let's go on the line now and speak to the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amwa. Thank you so much, Duncan, for your time here. We saw prices go up in the last window from COPEC. What are the signals?
I would have wished that we were convinced by close of day tomorrow as to what the final numbers from the BDCs are likely to be. The figures we have, it could be a slight adjustment upward. Again, we would also not be surprised that there's no adjustment and that prices could remain stable, due largely to what the price stabilization, the deregulation program could all of us. So, marginally, you could be looking at 5-10 peso increment as of today. But then, once you have a market that has a lot of good competition, there's every indication that prices may be sustained at the current levels that they are now.
But what could be influencing the forecast this time around?
What I can say quickly is that international markets continue to be high. We've not seen any decline in benchmark figures. So FOB prices that for this window we're hovering around 960. As we speak, you could be doing 972, 973. It is some significant upward adjustment, but not too significant to probably cause the kind of, upward increment that we have seen in the past. So potentially, you see some few pesos added, or prices could equally be stabilized. But I'm certain that we will get some final figures for the BDC in the close of business tomorrow.
Well, another major policy coming up is the cylinder recirculation model by Friday, September 1. And already you've made some reservations. We understand that without the Ghana card, consumers cannot benefit from this policy. Have you engaged the NPA, and are there plans to roll it out side by side, the current system, for consumers to get LPG?
Well, it would interest you to note that we just had another session with the NPA today, this morning, where the rollout was spelled out, the modalities of the rollout. One of the things that clearly has been answered to is the issue of the Ghana card controversy. Earlier, there were media reports that clearly would need the Ghana card alone to be able to access LPG beyond the rollout. Truth is that the current LPG setup, where you can pick your gas bottle to any of the outlets and be able to buy LPG. It's not going to be phased out immediately, so you will still be able to access gas from the LPG outlet. However, if the convenience that they bring, need to just do the authorized LPG redistributor points, because the bottles that would then be given to households are not going to be bottles that you come with. These are bottles that will be owned by the cylinder recirculation bottling plant. And so one needs to register, and it is not exclusively to the Ghana card as has been earlier indicated. Any form of valid national ID card could see one register to pick a bottle home as far as the cylinder recirculation program bit is concerned. So it doesn't look as though it will change structurally the entire market dynamics as we have it currently.
Right.
The only add-on is that you can be able to get LPG, which is filled now, which is also going to be a lot more convenient for people as the NPA is touting. But then again, the rollout would indicate whether we've been able to answer all the questions that the public have been raising.
But quickly before I let you go, what is your recommendation in protecting the interest of the consumer under the recirculation model policy?
One of the very interesting things that MPA came up with today happened to be the fact that they are working assiduously to ensure that there's no increment in gas prices as far as the program is concerned. If you are setting up cylinder redistribution points, you are setting up the bottling plant, you are setting up refurbishment, you are acquiring the gas bottles in order to be able to redistribute to people who don't even own bottles, then it will come at a certain cost. The fear originally from us was that if they were going to add any extra line of pricing or to pricing, then we would object to that. Fortunately, some memos have already been tabled before the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament to ensure that some of the taxes probably could be eased down on to accommodate the new program. Once this is done, it might not inconvenience gas prices, which is one of the inhibiting factors preventing LPG promotion in the country. Because if people want the commodity they still can't afford, it comes to naught. So we are sure that once they don't inconvenience prices and they are able to deliver LPG in clean bottles or cleaner bottles, pre-filled, I don't need to go to the retail outlet to wait whether it will have an explosion or not. I'm sure that with time we'll be able to either decide on going with the recirculation bit altogether or revert to the old system. But as it stands, there will not be any addition to your gas prices, and that for us is positive.
Right. Now, total volume of finished petroleum products sold by oil marketing companies fell by 4% in the first half of this year. What may be accounting for the drop? Does it mean that consumers are cutting down usage of fuel, or more private car drivers are switching to public transport?
Well, the thing about petroleum to do with the demand and supply is purely as a result of what you will call economic activity. I mean, what the public is asking for, what is supplied. In the case of Ghana, supply is not inconvenience or challenge. It is the issue of demand, how much the public is taking. What you saw in that report is a reflection starkly of economic activities within country. Once you have a situation where there's quite a lot of decline in economic activity, where we were expecting the economy to grow by some 4%, ended up with 1.3. Then you also have, some decline in economic activity, even with industry. Clearly, demand would not be as buoyant as you saw the preceding year. So simply, people are not doing as much as they did last year as far as petroleum consumption is concerned. So clearly, these numbers will reflect downward.
We'll leave it here. Duncan Amoah is Executive Secretary of COPEC. And that's how we end Business Live tonight. For more business news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I am Beverly Broom. I leave you with the latest commodities and business news from the international market.